Yo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your host of Dreams Money Can Buy, and we're back on a very, very special season finale. This is the last episode of season 3, so we had to do it right. We had to record this again because of some, behind the scene issues, so we had to get it fixed. So as you can see, the background is different, and I can't really explain to you why. We're in a different room, same kind of structure. That is a behind the scene issue. If you want to ask me, you can ask me directly. But we have an amazing guest, one of the most talented singers I know in the tri-state area.
Yes.
Speak it. We're going to speak it into existence. We're going to keep that energy for this year. So give it up to, well, technically you're Brooklyn zone, but now you're like Manhattan zone.
No.
No?
I don't claim.
Damn, you don't claim it? Okay, cool.
No.
We're giving up for Mel regardless. Give it up for Mel. We're going to have insert the claps. So how you doing? How's your day?
Good. It's Sunday. Sunday's my chill day, so I'm good. I'm relaxed.
Okay. So, you've seen some of the stuff. You know how we're going to go. We're going to do the whole journey of what is Mel, how did she get here? So I did allude to, you are a Brooklyn girl. So how was it? What part of Brooklyn did you grow up in? Like, the tough times of the 90s and the 2000s?
So I grew up, I was born in Dominican Republic. I'm Dominican, my family's Dominican. But I grew up in East New York. For like a long time, for like a significant portion of my life. And then when I was like 13, we moved to Bushwick. So yeah, just Brooklyn.
I mean, yeah, Brooklyn. So I know you went to school, I think, was it elementary in East New York? And then it was like
elementary, middle school.
Elementary, middle school. And when you moved to Bushwick, that was when you were getting into LaGuardia, right?
That was like right before.
Right before?
Yeah, it was like 8th grade.
All right. So especially when you moved to Bushwick around 8th grade, let's talk about, since it's East New York, it's Bushwick, and Bushwick is into LaGuardia, and then much later you guys move into the city, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. How was it like growing up in East New York for you when you were a young little girl?
So it's funny because to me, I was like having the best time, which sounds funny because you hear East New York and you don't think I'm having the best time, but that was like all I knew. And I had my community, I had my friends, I had my people. So to me, it was great. And I truly didn't understand the negative connotation, quote unquote, that I guess East New York had until I got older. And I would tell people, oh, yeah, that's where I grew up. And they'd be like, ooh, girl, you okay? Do you need therapy? And I'd just be like, no, it's what do you mean? I really didn't get it. And then it wasn't until, as an adult, I started kind of oh, I guess that wasn't I guess it was a rough place to be or grow up as a kid. But I don't know. To me, it was regular. Yeah, everywhere is rough in New York.
I mean, it is, right? And I think when you were growing up in East New York, right, was it kind of I don't want to say the olden days because it's so different now, 2020s and the 2010s, right? Was it you had all your friends on the block? It was kind of like community family vibe.
Yeah.
So for you were just nah, that's the homies. I feel safe here. So everyone out on the outside, we don't know you, so you kind of oppie, right? Is it kind of that type of energy is why you kind of blind to this?
Yeah, to me, it was regular. Obviously, I understood that there was there was dangerous things that was going on and there were gangs and shit like that. But I didn't I don't know. I think maybe my parents shielded me from a lot too. That definitely had something to do with it. But I just truly didn't I guess I was just so focused on being a kid.
Yeah.
That I just was oh yeah, I'm here. This is where I live. My friends are here. We go to the park. We go to Gershwin. We run around and play there. Then we go take swimming lessons at Family Academy. That was really what was normal to me. So I really, really didn't understand what the fear was associated with that neighborhood. But I get it now.
Okay, so we're in East New York. Now we're shifting over to Bushwick. Kind of what's the vibe, right? Because I know each neighborhood in all of the 5 boroughs is a different. How do you adjust to being in Bushwick? Because it's kind of the terrain is different. Mm-hmm. The type of energy in that neighborhood is different. How did you kind of adjust to being in Bushwick?
Yeah. So I didn't really. I really didn't like it at all. First of all, I had to leave all my friends behind, and I just hated being in this new place, new town, new neighborhood, whatever. And I moved like in the middle of like middle school, essentially.
Ooh,
like, you know
okay.
how like middle school is like 6th, 7th, 8th grade?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, like I moved right in the middle. So everyone had already, like when I got there, I was like new girl.
Yeah.
So like everyone had their vibes, everyone had their cliques, their community. And they was just like, who the fuck is this? And then another thing too was like the neighborhood that I grew up in, East New York, like was predominantly Black. Whereas like in Bushwick, it was like really heavily like Puerto Rican, like Latino, like it was like Puerto Rican, Dominican, I think like a lot of like Mexican. So that was like, even though I'm Dominican, obviously, like I think because I grew up around a lot of like predominantly African American, like Black people, Caribbean people, like being in an all Latino neighborhood was just a weirdly like different experience. Which sounds like kind of like saying it out loud sounds kind of strange because like, well, girl, you Latino, like how was it weird for you? But I think because I was so like used to being around Black people, like I didn't really understand like why I would get like look like a lot, you know, like I just wore I didn't like look, I guess, act or look like all the other Latino girls there. Like I didn't really, like my hair wasn't really straight all the time. Like it was like usually like pretty curly or just like different, like I guess like maybe more Black girl hairstyles, whatever that means. So I remember getting a lot of like commentary, like a lot of kind of anti-Black like bullying would happen like my first few months just in that neighborhood. And yeah, it was weird. I like didn't fit in for like a while.
So especially when it comes to like, you know, I want to say Black and brown is kind of like the culture of, I don't want to say cool, but just, nah, it's cool. So like you basically grew up around the Black kind of like populace, trying to sound smart with this. And then you shift over to Latino. Do you think kind of like being able to experience both kind of like really taps you into like a better inner discovery of yourself? Because you are from both of those worlds.
Yeah.
Like even your family is like, there's such a wide spectrum of color in your family. So you relate to both of those things. Do you feel like it was kind of like, it was awkward at first, but it's kind of, you appreciate being around more of like Dominicans? Not to say it's in preference to Black, but you got to see the other side of like, oh, this is how they act. This is how they think. Like, did you think it kind of helped you?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. Like my experience of being Dominican and like growing up in Dominican Republic and then here in America, like when I go to DR, like everyone looks like me. Like everyone's brown skin, dark skin. Like, so it was just like really interesting being around, like transitioning from like East New York. And I'm like, oh yeah, like everyone is Black here. Like everyone looks like me. My family's Black too, like whatever. Then moving to Bushwick and seeing like more like lighter skin, like white passing Latinos, you know, whatever the term is. And like being made aware of like the stark difference and like just treatment and like just energy and vibe. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, I did, to answer your question, like I did kind of get to experience both sides. But I don't know how I would rate that experience, if it was like cool or not. It was more so like, oh, this is how y'all act.
So also didn't mean like cool, but like enlightening. I think
enlightening, yes. It was a very educational time of my life.
Okay.
It's like I learned a lot.
So in the midst of that, like growing up, right? Obviously, we're gonna get to your parents' musical taste because it's very eclectic. It really helps shape you for like so many genres that you kind of like bring forth energy from to encompass into your style and your music. When did you start singing when you were growing up? Like, because I think your mom touched on saying like, man, she was singing from when she just came out.
Yeah. So I've always sung. I've always could sing. You know, my mom always has like little jokes about, oh yeah, she could sing before she could talk. Like that was like what she did. But I didn't start like, I guess not professionally, but I didn't start like getting like formal training until middle school. Yeah, because that was when I started getting different like musical training, just like learning how to play different instruments. And then it wasn't until I was like auditioning for like the high schools, like all the like specialized high schools in New York, where I was like with a voice teacher and like, okay, you have to prepare a musical piece and like this is what you do. And like just that whole process was like when it first started. And then high school was when it got like real, because then it was like, oh, now you're in a formal classical music training program. But yeah, so Yeah, age 13, I guess.
So age 13, because I remember from like research, you talked about always wanting to play a talent show with your family, right? So you always wanted to sing and like do all these things, right? And I think you were really building up to not even just being like a singer, but like an entertainer. You just loved bringing like good energy around the people, right? Do you remember like how it was with those talent shows and how you kind of like, I don't want to say head producer, but you kind of like bringing people together and you were just always trying to win. How was that those times growing up?
I mean, that was just me kind of preparing for what I do now. Like, it's so funny. Like, the universe is like, everything is practice. Yeah, like I just would get all my cousins. I have a lot of cousins. My dad is like one of 7. So, and they all have children. So I have like 21 first cousins. But yeah, so all my cousins, we would like, like kids play pretend, whatever, we play games. And I'd be like, let's play talent show. I'm going to sing. Y'all figure out what y'all do. And yeah, we would all like, do our little talent, whatever. And I would always win because it was my show, I guess. But yeah, it's just, that was me kind of preparing myself for what I do now, which is like performing and getting myself ready for shows. And, I guess now it's just on like a much larger scale. But yeah, that was me growing up. I was telling people what to do and like singing all over the place.
And I think that's good, right? Because we're going to talk about later into like some of the singers that you really love. And I know one of them is really like, I think from her documentary, she's like, I'm not giving any new notes until the previous notes have been given, right? But it shows like how intentional you are with your craft, right? Even though you didn't think I'm really trying to do this just to get better, I'm just doing this because I like showcasing my talent. I think you alluded to that when it came to high school and when you get into LaGuardia, but like before, how was it like being like one of the most talented singers in middle school? Because I think talking about how it was in middle school and then seeing like that talent change when it goes from like being the best to being like one of best, like let's talk about that. How did it feel like kind of like rocking out in middle school with your voice?
So middle school was, it actually kind of started before. So like in elementary school when I was like in East New York, like I was always like kind of singing in class, and a lot of my teachers like noticed that, and they would like, like, oh, like you should be in the chorus, whatever. So I would like be in the chorus and do like little things here and there. Like I would sing the anthem before every like school assembly. So it was always, I was always like known for that. And then middle school, it was the same thing. Just, I would participate in little like school shows, whatever. And so like, you're kind of in this like space of like, yeah, ain't nobody fucking with me. Like, I'm the best one here. And then you get to like, the next level, which is like this school where, all of like, you have like these like, there's like famous people who send their kids there, and like, rich people who have been like training their kids for this kind of like industry, like setting, environment, whatever, their whole lives. So you're no longer the best one. You're one of the best of the best. And like, you're not even in that like space, there was like tiers of like, okay, who's really the best and who's like, all right, and who's like just not that good, or like just got in because like they have good grades, whatever. So it was a little bit like, it was humbling for sure. Like it was like it kind of like made me really, I guess, reevaluate myself and be like, damn, am I as good as I thought I was? Because they going crazy in here. Like, and then I had never really had any sort of like exposure to classical music. And that's all that was. Like, because they're really trying to like their whole thing was like, no, we're focusing on technique and like getting you to be able to sing any kind of music. And a lot of that is found in classical music. Like a lot of what you like need to know for just like correct, like singing correctly and like so you don't hurt yourself, like and breathing techniques, all that stuff. Like, a lot of like classical music just teaches you all of that. So I hadn't really been exposed to any of that stuff prior to being in that school. So it was like humbling, definitely, to say the least. I was like, damn, like I don't think I'm as good as I thought I was. And it was kind of a high school was like tough for me. Just it was a predominantly white school, so that's already just in the race element. And just kind of coming to terms with the fact that like, oh, I really need to work on my craft. Like I'm not I'm not as great as I thought. Like I am good for sure. Like I didn't doubt that I could sing, but I'm just like, oh no, like there's a lot of like fine tuning that needs to happen.
Okay. And this is all happening in LaGuardia, right?
Yeah.
Because I think when you were applying for the school, we haven't talked about it, but you applied for two things, for voice and clarinet. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because I could play clarinet.
Yeah. So, no, and I think, in a past timeline. So, when it came to the clarinet, and I think we were talking about like all the type of things you had to do with your voice, and especially like using a wind instrument, which I think is super crucial to like your vocal stamina and like clarity and that acuity. Like, what did you kind of like come away from with playing the clarinet? Because it's a very beautiful instrument, right? With the type of like melodies that come out of it. But obviously, you're a singer, but it's kind of cool that you get to understand music through another instrument. So how was that for you because you didn't really play clarinet too much in LaGuardia, right? You were doing mostly like...
Because the way that school is set up, like you audition for one thing, and that if you get in, that's your thing that you do for the entire time.
Okay.
So yeah, no, that was like mostly... Prior to high school, I was doing that in middle school, and then just because I was like I kind of, obviously it was like a transitional time for me to be in middle school, and I was just like hating everything there because I didn't really have any friends. So I was like, it was like too late for me to like be in chorus, I think. So I was like, okay, I'll just be in band. So I literally just like picked something up. It wasn't even like purposeful. Like I really had a deep passion for clarinet. I just ended up being really good at it. And then there was this like music program that I got into at Juilliard, like right before I started high school. And that was like a kind of like a music and instrumental music intensive program that I did. And that was like really, really, I guess, eye-opening because I was like really forced to learn how to like read music and like, music theory, all that stuff that maybe you don't necessarily think is as important when you're just a singer. But it really like developed a skill that I didn't have access to before, and I'm now using in my daily life now as like a professional singer and adult.
And just to clarify, right, for that like pre-college, pre-high school program at Juilliard, that was for both your voice and clarinet?
That was just clarinet.
Okay, cool.
So I wasn't doing any singing.
So
it was just instrumental music and like, yeah, like read this music.
Yeah. So I feel like what's pretty cool, and I just love about your development since young Mel, right? When it came to the talent shows, and then you're going to school, being like the best of the best in middle school, kind of like doing this thing to help you not only just read music, but it helps you look at music in such a different way. I feel like all along you were picking up skills, right? Mm-hmm. Just to get you ready to be the future. I'm not gonna jinx it, but I'm not even gonna knock on wood. Like future Grammy, we're gonna put it out there. We're gonna put it like winning like big awards, right? We're gonna do that. But you've had to learn a lot of things that a lot of times people don't think are important, right? And it's not to say that you wouldn't have been successful without it, but it just helps you look at music differently, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about that, can we talk about like what did you have to do to change your regimen when you went to LaGuardia? Of like, all right, cool, you've noticed that there's a lot of other talented people. Like, what did you kind of realize for yourself? If I want to get better, what do I have to do in my routine to like really do well in the classes and in the grades?
Yeah. Well, I think for like one thing was like I couldn't like just coast anymore. Like I think because I've always been a good student and I just could always like, kind of pick things up and just like do them and be good at them. I didn't really put that much effort into a lot of things I did in my studies. And that was when I was like forced to really kind of like sit down and like come to terms with like, okay, now you gotta turn your brain on and like be attentive and pay attention. And yeah, I think that was, I just had to like put effort into what I was doing. Like, and that was, I think the first time I ever had to really do that. Yeah, just be like more purposeful. And even to this day, I don't think that I had really, like sometimes I think back to those times and I think I could have done more of that. But I try to give myself grace because it's like really hard. You don't realize like how hard how much like pressure and stuff there is around you when you're a teenager. And like there's just so much going on inside. And then in a school like that where it's like, yeah, they're training you like to be a professional, like whatever it is, whether you're like a dancer or a singer or a artist or like a visual artist. they're like training you for that, but you're also like experiencing high school, which is just such a like trying time because like high school is just like way too intense. So you're going through like, and you know, and like your body's changing and you're just like growing as a young adult and like you're having like really intense experiences for the first time. Like you're probably going to get in a relationship for the first time and like see what that's like. And, you know, like you're probably coming to terms with your sexual identity. Like there's just so much that happens like during that time. So I try to give myself grace and not be like too hard on myself. But I do think there could have been more of like a purposeful energy to what I was doing. I hope that answered your question.
No, it did. And I think something that I don't think you were able to discuss, because you did talk about classical music, but I know when it comes to the curriculum for LaGuardia, you had classical music, you had opera, and you had gospel, amongst other styles, right? So I know for you, you were like classical and the alternate universe. When we talked about all these styles,
that
like,
wasn't by choice either. That was like, they was like, nah, you doing it.
Yeah, I know. But I think for me, how did you feel like, because I know classical music and, how do I say this? I think when I think of your voice and your vocal abilities, I think of someone that can do R&B, soulful music, pop music, all of those things, right? I don't expect you to be like, I want to just do an opera song. I'm going to do a gospel song. I feel like you could, but like, what did you come away with having to be forced to do genres that you wouldn't typically sing, right? So we talked about classical. How did you feel like doing gospel? How did you feel like doing opera when it came to being like that in high school?
So the reason I even started to, like I asked to be in the, because you had to like kind of audition to be, not only did you have to audition to be in the school, but then there were like little, like I guess divisions or little programs within the like vocal program that you had to audition to be a part of. So there was like the gospel chorus, which like if you weren't a good singer, they wasn't gonna let you in. And then there was like the it was called like advanced women's chorus. Like, you know, you kind of had to like be a good singer to be in that one. There was like it was like called senior chorus, and there was like you had to like audition to be in senior chorus, and like if you didn't pass the audition and like you couldn't prove that you could sight sing, they wouldn't let you in that either. Like it was just like very intense. But I think when I was like, you know, when it was like my time to decide which one I was gonna be in, I was like, all right, let me do like gospel, because like this just seems more up my alley. And I just saw the type of singing that was going on in, like, you know, when I would walk by in the hallway and I would see the type of singing that was, because you could just like hear like people going crazy in class. I would hear the type of music that was being sung, and I would hear the type of singing that was being done in that class. And I'd be like, all right, yeah, like they going crazy in there. Like I want to be in there because this seems to be where all the best singers are. So I think that was a decision. That was the thought process behind being in that one. And yeah, I think that so many of the things that I learned in that class, like were like I bring now to my style of singing, like currently, just because like gospel singers are some of the best singers to me. Like they're some of the best singers. Like just so many of the like choices that they make vocally are like so impressive. And like if you think back to really any genre of music, whether it's like rock or pop music or, you know, whoever, like Elvis, like, you know, like they like you hear all these stories of how he was just like, I forget where he grew up. Was it Tennessee or like Nashville or something? I don't know. One of those.
Nashville is in Tennessee, so you're right.
Okay.
I just don't know if I know it's
somewhere like in the deep south,
yeah,
but like
right
he was like, you know, apparently he would like spend a lot of time in like Baptist churches, and like, you know, a lot of the things that he did like was because he was picking that up in church. So it's like, yeah, that's a foundation for a lot of styles now. So to me, that was what made sense in high school. Like, yeah, let me go here.
So, okay, because I think, especially since you didn't have to do like the gospel choirs in church, right? Because you weren't like I'm going to have to go to church, but like even for the people that you idolize, right? Gospel is very competitive when like who's first chair, who's like doing a solo, who's doing all these things. So what's awesome, because as we know, I think from I don't want to say the golden era, but from anything predating, I think the 1990s of like really good R&B like singers, they're either in the church or adjacent to the church. So because of that competition, you're not no good singer if you're not working for your solo.
Right.
You're doing all these things, and people like really working all of the ranges of your voice. So because you chose gospel, because you're like, all right, all the best people are here, I'm gonna push myself. Because you could have just been like, but I feel like because of that competitive spirit, it really kind of like helped develop your voice even further when it comes to who you are presently as we get to that point.
Yeah.
So when I think about that, right, I want to go back to your parents, because I did allude to that. Your parents and what they listened to growing up, it is such world encompassing. And as the daughter of these two individuals, these great individuals, how did their kind of like musical libraries get into you?
That was a great question. And you really worded that well. That was good.
I would hope so.
Yeah, so my parents were like really into so many different types of music. My dad, I think that me and my dad like bump heads a lot, but one thing that I'm very grateful about him is like his taste in music. He has great taste in music. And I think so many of the people that I really love and admire musically now is because of him. Like I feel like he had me on a steady diet of like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson and Gladys Knight and Tina Turner. Like so many people that it's like, yeah, like this is who I hold. These are like my bars of like excellence. Whereas like my mom, like she was really into like any good Caribbean woman. She loved her some Celine Dion.
Honorary Caribbean.
Yes. Yeah, she was like really into Celine Dion. She really liked Prince. She really liked like Cyndi Lauper, like stuff like that. Like she was like really into like pop music. So yeah, like those two kind of like styles growing up or listening to that kind of music at home all the time, like really like had an effect on me and what I consider to be good and what I like to emulate. But yeah, and then even like outside of like the, I guess, regular like R&B stuff like that, like my dad is also really into like rock, and he really likes Pink Floyd and Air Supply and like stuff like that. Like there was just like a lot of different types of music going on in the house. And then obviously being Dominican, there was like the salsa and the merengue and the bachata, all that stuff. So yeah, my brain holds quite the catalog of like of music and different genres.
And I think when you kind of like bring it all together and we start talking to your singles and we talk to you about your favorite artists, male artists, female artists, I think the most brilliant artists are the ones that not only just study their genre of music, but they study everything. So I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I think you probably have a similar appreciation for me. Like I think like Tyler, the Creator, just how he makes not only just his raps, but his behind the scenes production. And it's because of what he listens to that instead of being, I'm going to be like everyone here, I'm going to be Tyler, right? And I think for you, when it comes to like making your journey as Mel, nobody wants to reinvent the wheel, but I think the truest sense of being an artist is sounding like you. I think everyone wants to sound like the greats. And I think when you try to have a distinct voice, you don't try it. You just do it, right? Mm-hmm. So I think because you've like listened to all the genres, it's really helped you, which is awesome to have it from your dad and mom. We talked about when you started singing. I don't want to assume that when you started singing is when you started falling in love with music. But when did you kind of like start really like, I really love music. I really love making music. I really love singing music. Do you kind of like, because I don't want to assume it's like when you're like a child. Mm-hmm. Like when did you realize I really love music?
There are two moments that really stand out to me. There was my dad. I feel like I sound crazy saying this, but he had a VHS. Like that sounds like ancient times. He had a VHS of Thriller. And I like wore that VHS out. Like I watched that like all the time. And I remember we had like there was like a show and tell day that we had at school. I think I was in like, I don't even know what grade I was. That must have been like first or second grade. And I remember I bought that. that was my show and tell. I was like so we're gonna watch Thriller. Like, and I just remember being super excited, like, and like just like really like talking about like why I really love this movie. Well, you know, to me it was like a movie. I didn't really understand.
I mean, the production value was pretty high.
I didn't understand the concept of like, I guess for whatever reason, I didn't understand there was like a music video. To me, it was like a movie. So I was just like, yeah, like this is my favorite movie, and you know, whatever. And I literally like I made everybody sit down and watch Thriller for like my show and tell. So that was one moment that I was like, yeah, like this is different. Like this is a different thing. And then the other moment is when I saw the Selena movie.
Oh, like
the one with J-Lo.
Yeah, when she like did her best reenactment of what Selena was. Okay.
I was like, and I had already been exposed to Selena's music, so I knew that it wasn't J-Lo releasing it. Yeah. Like I knew what it was. But I just remember like being really affected by just her kind of coming up and her like stardom and just seeing her rise. And feeling so like, I guess, impassioned by it. And that's when I knew I think those are the two times that I was just like, yeah, like this is, I don't think I like music the same way that other people do. 'Cause I'm really affected by these two people that I never met.
And I think what's cool about that question, right? Which leads into our other question, 'cause my mind with the questions, right? Music is like storytelling with melodies behind it, right? And you're giving parts of yourself with good, bad, and in between stories, right? And as we talked about some of your singles, is like experiences. And girl, you've had experiences, right? I don't want to say exactly like Selena and like Michael Jackson, but what other artists, just because of their music, do you keep up with? Because I have some of the names here, but there are probably other names you could think about.
Right. Well, Beyonce is my guiding light. She guides everything I do in life. Yeah, no, definitely Beyonce. Like I was in what was that, 4th grade? Yeah, that meant 4th grade when I first listened to the Writings on the Wall album, and obviously that was when it was like 4 Destiny Child members. And I just remember I remember loving that whole album and just like oh my god, like listening to that CD over and over until it was like scratches all over it.
Is Bills on that album?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because I have to remember the different
Bills.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I remember like specifically like listening to all the songs on that CD and like being able to pick out her voice, and just because like she was just going crazy, like, you know, just riffing and like just doing a whole bunch of runs and just like all over the songs, like to the point where it was like, girl, this is a group. What you doing? But I just remember like picking her out and like being able and like really, really identifying with like all the stuff that she was doing. And it just was like, it just kept going from there. Like just every Destiny's Child album after that, I was just like, yeah, like they're all very great, but to me, like she's just like consistently going crazy all the time. And then, you know, of course, when she put out Dangerously in Love and just every album after that, it was just like, yeah, she does no wrong. She does no wrong. Like consistently amazing.
So I knew that was going to be your first, I hate saying a female, I was a lady artist. Sounds better. I was wondering if you're going to say your favorite male artist.
My favorite male artist.
Or one of your favorite male. I don't want to put too much pressure.
Yeah. So that is so challenging because like I love like so many people.
Like who you keep up with, because you talk about them all the time. So I was just.
Yes. So I am a big Drake fan.
Okay.
I am a big Drake fan. I know that's like very important to you.
Oh, it's not important to me. You literally wrote it. Like that was just following.
I do love Drake. He's just good at what he does, honestly. Like I can't even knock him. Who else do I keep up with?
I don't know if you're gonna say his name, but he's blind.
He's blind?
He's blind.
Oh, Stevie Wonder?
Yep.
Oh no, yeah, I love Stevie Wonder. I love Stevie Wonder. He's just perfect. Like he like just everything he does musically is so like I really admire people who can like make difficult things look easy. And so many of his like songs are like they're so like easy to sing along to and like really singable and like amazing, but like they're mad hard. It's like musically, like just if you just look at the music and like hear what he's doing and try to emulate what he's doing, it's very difficult. But he just makes it look so simple and like, you know, just easy to do, and like it just always feels good. Like he's incredible. Like he's a genius. So yeah, it's always Stevie Wonder.
And I'll just tell you because I don't want you to think too much. So the 3 women you said outside of Beyonce was Janelle Monáe,
Yeah,
Victoria
I was gonna
Monet,
say her name.
and Ari Lennox.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, I love them so much.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way Ari Lennox sings. Like just vocally, she just does things that I would do, like that just feel good to do, like in my soul and in my spirit. Like I just like, yes, like these are the same musical choices I would make. So yeah, I love the way she sings, and I just love her personality. I feel like I would be friends with someone like her. Victoria Monet is just fine, honestly, and like she also is like an amazing songwriter, and like just like is just like talented beyond belief, and like dances on stage while she sings. Like it's just like she's super super talented, and it's like very incredible to watch her. And then and Janelle Monáe.
Mm-hmm.
Janelle Monáe is like incredible. She also is like, I think a lot of the things that I like about her is because she's also really inspired by Stevie Wonder, and you can hear it a lot in her music, especially in her album Love Is Not with the Electric Lady.
Oh, okay. Because I'm going to be honest with you, like I haven't listened to Janelle in a while, so I was going to have to lean on you because I remember her last album came out like a couple of years ago, right?
No, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But that Electric Lady album, I was like, oh yeah, she is like super inspired by Stevie Wonder. But yeah, I think they just, and I love their voices. And to me, I feel like you can pick them out. I can pick them out right away as soon as I hear them. Like they're just easily identifiable. And I love that about a singer. Like I feel like that's one of the qualities that make a really good singer to me. Like I want to be able to hear you and like know that that's you. So yeah.
Okay. So before I get into the singles, I wanted to change up the order of the questions that I had, right? So in that alternate universe, when we had like the episode, you had like a different producer, right? So of course, when it comes to making music, I think there's such a very deep connection between the artist and the producer, right? And as we talked about before with Drake, and I think before when Drake was kind of like doing, I'm not a fan of Thank Me Later. I appreciate for what it was. But when he had majority of those producers and a little bit of 40, I think his sound is just much better when 40's like right next to him, right? How have you dealt with change, right? Because I think for you love your family aspect when it comes to your team, and we're going to talk about some new additions, right? How has it been? Because I know these last 2-3 years have been a lot of growth on your end, right? So let's talk about this for what you feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of growth. There has been some change and additions and subtractions. I was working with a producer who is very talented, like, you know, just has an amazing ear, and just it is great, like, at what he does. But for whatever reason, like, you know, for just personal things that I'm not going to get into, like, he had a lot going on just family wise, and like just with his life, like there was just a lot of like big changes going on with him. And so he unfortunately could not continue down the the road of making music with me anymore. But I'm always going to be grateful to him, because when he and I met, and the stuff that we were able to make together has helped me so much and has contributed to like where I am now. So I'm never going to be like, you know, obviously you don't want to, it's always like sad when you like have to make a change with someone that you like have established such a bond with, and like, you know, just like really, really got comfortable with music. And then like just making music is just such a vulnerable experience just in and of itself. Like, so it was a very, very difficult time for me to like, you know, just like have to like give him his space to, you know, like figure himself out. But I'm always going to be grateful, and I'm never going to like, you know, like feel like have any sort of like hurt feelings towards him or like bad feelings towards him, because he really did and gave me so much, and like he really helped me find my voice during a time where I didn't necessarily know what it was. So shout out to him, shout out to Julio. And there have been some new additions now moving forward, and it's just funny, like the people that I'm working with now, like everything happens for a reason, because I feel like I'm so, I feel like there's another level now to the type of music that I'm making, and the people that I'm working with now like are just so talented. And I feel like everything I learned during my time that I was working with other producers like has helped me be prepared enough to step into these new spaces and be able to work with these new people. So yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you have like, I don't want to say like one dedicated producer, but like a few producers you work with. Anybody you want to name drop, or anybody you want to give some kudos to?
So one person that I do want to name drop, or not even name drop, just like give them their flowers, is Kevin Antonio.
Okay.
Because he's just so, he's just been such a like, I feel like instrumental part in the music that's like making the music that's about to come out now sound so good. And I think we just had like a very kind of like quick, like the chemistry that happens between us when we're in the studio is so like kind of like magnetic and just amazing. And it's like one of those things where like it just kind of like, it's so natural, like it just happened right away, and we just have so much fun when we're in there. And I'm just forever grateful for like any opportunity I get to be in the studio with him is always just like a good time. And he just gets it. Like I don't have to, like we don't really have to like talk much. He just like will say something here and there, and I'll just go in and like do it, or like I'll be like, oh, what, I was kind of thinking of doing this. He'll like, yeah, go ahead, sing it, and then it'll just be like he'll fuck with it. Like it's just like this like musical connection where like we don't really have to like talk too much. I just kind of go in there and do my thing, and he just knows where I'm trying to go with it. So he's like already kind of thinking like 2 steps ahead of me. Yeah, and it's just like I feel like it's one of those things where it's like iron sharpens iron with him. Like he's so good at what he does, and I just want to learn from him as much as I can. Like I want him to like, I feel like I think I've said this to him before, but like I want him to like Mr. Miyagi me, just like teach me everything he knows, because he's just super talented.
Okay. And before we get into like the singles, you also have a talent manager, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about the talent manager. What is his name?
So my manager's name is Kojo.
Okay, it's TMTG, right?
TMTG, the multi-talented gentleman.
All right. I know you guys had a really good friendship, and he's actually been a great fan. I don't want to say fan. Fan. But also he's like always like reaches out with some feedback or some tidbits before he was like your manager, right? Mm-hmm. How did that kind of like naturally progress from like just someone that's like, he also loves music. Like I think he's one of the few people that I think I rarely disagree with Kojo. Yeah, I rarely disagree with him unless it's about something that's just like absolutely not. And then
he be kind of wilding a little bit sometimes, so it's okay to disagree,
but not too much. Like even with his takes, like, especially because he loves R&B, right?
Yeah.
And this is, and if you haven't watched it, I think Kojo's season 1, one of those seasons. Just type of Kojo, he's in there. He talks about his love of R&B, right? He does love rap, but that man is really good with the R&B playlist, right? And I think that's amazing that he's a talent manager, because you also, love R&B. So how does that relationship kind of get you even to higher levels of performance and stuff like that?
I mean, yeah, it was just kind of like a really organic sort of thing with he and I. Like, he just kind of saw what I was doing and was like, hey, so this is cool, but like, let's make it better. That's just always been his energy with me. And yeah, like he just always, I think, yeah, that's just kind of how we met. Like, it was just like, I respect what you're doing. Like, I see the talent, I see the energy, like I see where you're trying to go with it, like I think I can be an addition to it. And he was just kind of doing manager stuff in my life without me even asking him to. He just kind of like showed up and was like stepping into that role. So it was like it was kind of a no-brainer and just like a really organic transition from like, I'm just your friend that gives you music advice, whatever, to now like, actually like, let's make this official and like make this like a manager artist relationship. So yeah, that was, when was that? What was that, like 5 months ago at this point? It was like 5 months. Yeah.
He's off camera, by the way. I know he's doing some like manager stuff, but I don't remember the exact time. I just know he had like an official announcement. And I feel like whenever Kojo does something, it's like a quiet bomb. It's like, but then to me, it was just like the three people he had. It was like, I don't want to say I made a face of like, this kind of like makes sense. Like I've kind of like low-key already saw it like that. So I was like, oh, so he's actually like kind of embracing that role. So I definitely wanted to give, you said Kevin Antonio?
Yes.
Oh, thank God, because I didn't write that down. But obviously, Kojo, I don't need to write his name down because I know him in the city. So definitely want to give them their flowers, just being additional, consistent presence in your life before we talk about the music. So we have, well, technically 2 singles that are out on DSPs, distributed. I don't even know what the initials are anymore, but DSPs.
Yes.
You had a Christmas one. We're going to talk about that first because that was way back, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to go in order of that song, the other 2 songs, and then we're going to allude to the third single, right? So that's how we're going to do this. So that Christmas song, I had to say, I realized I didn't see it anymore, and I was a little sad. But why did you make that Christmas song way back?
I mean, I just really like Christmas music. I think the holidays are like a kind of a rough time for me just in general as a person. Just I think it's just like too much energy and like too much pressure, just too much going on. But I find a lot of solace in the music. Like I think holiday music is like just really good. So I just wanted to do that just for myself. Like I was like, yeah, like why not? I'll sing a holiday song. Like, and then I found myself just performing a lot of like I like performing like Christmas things here and there, and like sometimes I'd like sing at church or whatever, and it'd be like Christmas time, and I just really liked holiday music, so that was just the thought process behind that. Are you asking why I took it off? Or
no,
like, no?
We don't have to talk about that. I just wanted to, because it's still important. Like when it was on there, that was one of the 3 things I played was that song and the other 2 songs. So that's one I just felt like just keeping consistent in chronological order. That was first before the next single we'll talk about. So I'll ask you offline because I just anything, just send it to me. I'll put it on my library because I really like that song.
Okay.
So EOTL, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely before you came up with the third song, so it's not a single, that's the first single. Second single is that name. Third single we'll allude to. I really loved it, and I told you why I loved it because it reminds me of a particular artist. But let's talk about EOTL and just how did you come up with this amazing kind of like it's 2 songs in one song, and I love songs that have beat changes in
combo songs.
Love it. How did you kind of come up with it and get into this flow?
So that song was inspired by an experience. A dating experience that I had that was not the best.
Nope.
I was dating someone, and it was just a rocky road.
It was just what's going on.
He was, not great, but I did get something positive out of it because I got music out of it. So yeah, that was inspired by like a rough dating experience. But I remember I was like in the studio with my producer at the time, and he had these 2. He was just like, we would just go in there and like he would just like play what he had for me, and I would just tell him what I like, what I don't like. And I remember he had these 2 beats that I really, really liked, and I had originally sort of like the first part of EOTL that you hear, I had like written to that and just was like, okay, like just kind of left it as is. And then the part B of the song, I had heard the beat and just like really liked it and just kind of started writing to it like just organically. And I remember we were not exactly sure what we wanted to do with it. And I told him, I was like, yo, what if we just make it like 2 songs? Like, what if we just combine it? Like, for, like, and I specifically told him, I was like, you remember Sicko Mode with like Drake and Travis Scott? Like, let's just do that. Like, I just think that would be really cool. And then of course, like Drake is always inspiring me. So yeah, so that was the thought process behind that. And yeah, I love that song. You know, I have grown since then, but I feel like that song is always going to hold a special place in my heart because it's the song that I feel like I like exposed myself to the world with.
You had a music video for it too.
Yeah, as a musician and as a singer. It's what got my manager's attention. And, you know, has like what helped me, you know, secure a manager. So yeah, I love EOTL. End of the line.
I'm trying to think because I don't know if it was this song or the next song, which is Magic. You had a random person hit you, like not hit you up, but like they saw you in person and they were like, "Oh my god, I love this song." Was it End of the Line or was it Magic? Do you remember this? What I'm talking about, like a fan of your music. I don't know if I'm tripping right now, but someone kind of like said, "I really love this song." I don't know if it was Magic or End of the Line. Damn. Am I tripping right now? Because it's like in that alternate universe when we did this before, right?
Yeah.
You talked about that experience and how cool that was. I just don't remember from my notes which song it was. If you don't remember, it's okay. I feel like I want to say it's End of the Line.
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I really don't remember.
Oh,
damn.
It was a good moment.
And you know what's gonna happen is I'm gonna leave here and it's gonna come back to me and then I'm gonna be annoyed. But I can't remember.
All right, so I'm gonna try my best to. I don't know if it's gonna like fire a neuron, but it was like you were just, you know, living life. I don't know, you were at an event or somewhere in the city, and someone just came over and just like, "Hey, you're Mel, right?" And it's like, "Yeah."
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't with EOTL. It was with Magic.
Okay, so I knew it was one of those two songs.
Yeah, it was with Magic,
cool.
But yeah, no, that did happen, and I was just like, what? Yeah. Like it was, and I feel like that was my first experience of somebody kind of like recognizing me or like just knowing who I am just based on what I do.
Yeah.
And that was just a really beautiful experience. So
what
yeah, shout out to Magic.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's the introduction to the second single. So I didn't know which one it was, but Magic, of the 3 songs that I've just like mentioned, is like my favorite. Like I'd have that on repeat all the time just because of like the melody. Like it's just like, it's such a groovy kind of like, it makes me feel happy, you know? And it's like, it reminds me of like those 70s and 80s when it's like those kind of like tempos where it feels like, again, going back into your bag of like all these genres that you listen to. If I ever have a bad day, that's like part of my playlist of like, let me listen to Magic and other songs that are just going to kind of like, you know, get me into it, really right? So, no doubt. When it comes to that second single, how did it come about? You know, that's your third baby, but second single. Like, how do you feel with that one?
So kind of the same way that, you know, the others have come. Like I was in the studio having a session with my producer. He was like just playing stuff. And I heard it and it just caught my ear and I just, you know, just immediately started writing to it. Like that's usually my process. Like, I just hear something and my ear is like, oh, no, like my ear just perks up and like, the whole song will just come out. So yeah, Magic happened that way. And in the song, I guess for whatever reason just the way the beat went, I was reminded of Tamia.
Right.
So Into You, I love that song. That's one of my favorite. I think that's definitely in like my top 5 like favorite songs of all time. And something about the way the beat is and just like the stuff going on like reminded me of that. So I kind of like pay homage a little bit to that record within Magic. So yeah, that's the second song.
Nah, that's fire. And I didn't write that down, but I should have wrote the Tamia thing because that is like, so if End of the Line was like I don't want to say inspired by Drake, but it's like Drake essence. Like this song is Tamia essence.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I love Tamia. She's also somebody that's in like my top 5 like favorite singers. Like I probably should have added her to that list, but she just beautiful voice. I love the choices that she makes musically.
Actually, I did write that later.
Oh, okay, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I love the things that she the choices that she makes musically, and like So Into You is just a perfect like love song. Like I wanted to make a song that feels like this is what it feels like when I like somebody, like when I have a crush. Like I just feel like happy all the time. Like I'm really into them. I like, I want to be around them all the time. I feel like I'm like high a little bit, I guess. Like it's just, yeah, like this is what a crush feels like to me. So I wanted to communicate that musically with that.
Okay, so now we're getting to the untitled. So we actually do know the title, but I'm not going to say it to you. So by the time this comes out, it should be around the time when it drops. So I'm speaking very vaguely because the manager here, I'm not going to mess it up. But whenever this drops, around that time, the song will be out. So
yes,
keep following Mel. So with this, well, this is the third single. So you are actually, wait, am I allowed to see who's featured on the song? Can I say that? Can I say who's featured on the song? Am I allowed to say that?
No.
Cool. This is why we ask questions. Glad the manager's here because I was going to mess it up. So that person that is featured on the song, you actually have a very deep admiration for, kind of like a very sibling-like bond with this person. How did it feel getting this person? Because that's like technically your first person on a single like that's featured.
Yeah.
Because normally you've been kind of like Mel solo dolo, right?
Yeah.
How does it feel to like work with this type of artist?
So that was really, really cool. Shout out to my manager for securing that. That was really, really cool. So when I had finished making Magic, or not finished making it, but when I had kind of like first sort of had an outline for what I wanted the song to be like, I sent it to Kojo and I was like, like this is what I'm working on, whatever. And he heard it. He was like, this is fire. How do you feel? Like, well, no, first he was like, do you trust me? And I was like, And at that point he wasn't my manager yet. So I was like, I don't know. Like, where are you going with this? But he was like, just trust me. And yeah, he asked me like, how I felt about having a rapper on this or like having another artist on it. And I was like, I'm like very protective of the things that I do. So I was a little bit apprehensive and, like unsure, but I was like, okay, like, whatever, we'll see. But then he did it. He like came through. And yeah, like it's just kind of started this like really cool relationship with the rapper that's going to be on it. I'm super excited. He bodied it.
Yeah, he killed it.
He killed it. And he just added an element to the song that I didn't know that I needed, or I didn't know that the song needed, but like the minute he went in there and like did his thing, I was like, yeah, it's a single. Like now it's definitely ready. Because
what I was gonna say is, outside of Kojo, I heard the original version, like the one that was just you, right? Because you sent it to me, and I was like, all right, it's cool. It's cool. I like the direction. I could talk about the song, but I can't say the name of it, right? Huh? All right, cool. I just want to make sure. I don't, make sure you good.
Yeah.
I do like that song because the difference between this song and End of the Line and Magic, it's a different side of you when it comes to like that. I call this like bravado Mel, if that makes sense, because I know I'm such a Drake fan, but like there's so many different elements, and I like that you're getting into different bags, right?
Yeah.
And I know later on I said like the Drake formula, but this is like the Mel formula, where it's like you get to be in different bags before you kind of build on to whatever is like maybe a mixtape, maybe an EP, whatever else is your project. You're kind of playing around with like different bags of like feelings and styles and stuff like that. Are you excited for when this like song drops? Because I feel like I think these people need to hear this. Like,
yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to like put too much pressure on myself or anything, or like I don't want to put pressure on like the world, but it's just definitely going to shift a lot of the like energy around me musically once this song comes out. And it'll just, I think it'll give people a more, it'll give people a different perspective of me. Like, for sure. Just like a different, they're just going to hear a side of me that they haven't really heard before musically, or I think just even seen of me. Like, I'm just a chill person. Like, I'm confident in that and all that, but like, I'm chill. Like, I'm like, I'm just kind of like laid back. And I think this side, the side of me that you hear on this song is like, oh, she not playing. Like, like, do what you have to do. So yeah, I'm very excited for when this song comes out. And, there's a whole, like, the energy that we've put into it and like are currently putting into it to make sure that like it's received well is, I'm just really hype about it.
Okay. I'm excited too. I want to say how I can ask this question because you kind of alluded to it. I'm just going to ask it. So we talked about 4 songs, right? Mm-hmm. 3 of them have been heard by the world. 2 of them are on streaming platforms. When it comes to writing, you kind of said like you hear the melody of like the beat and then you just kind of start writing, right? Is there any different process to like hearing songs with different tempos, or is it just the same thing? Like, how do you make songs? Because when I listen to all of these songs, they're like distinct different feelings. Mm-hmm. How does the tempo of the production alter the writing process, or just whatever like resonates with that melody is like, I'm just going to start writing for it? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it does. Cool. Yeah, I don't know that the style of the
production.
Yeah, I don't know that the style of the production alters my process in any way. I think I literally just like if I hear something I like, I just start. I'm like, it's just I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know how you would describe that, sort of like the way my brain functions like with sounds, but when I hear something I like, I just like all of my attention is like, ooh, what's that? Like let's see where that goes. So yeah, I don't like even if it was like a slow, like a really really slow song, or like something more like fast paced, I attach, I guess, what I hear like musically or sonically, whatever mood that like inspires inside of me, that's the perspective that I write behind. So if I hear something that's like really slow, but it like seems like it's like a sexual song, like I'll write about something sexual. Like if it's something like really slow, but it seems like it's like more sad, like I'll write about something sad. Like if it's a fast-paced song, but like I still want to give like a little bit of like a sad energy, or like give people a feeling of like I'm kind of going through something, like I'll do that too, which is kind of what I did with like EOTL a little bit, because that was about a sad situation. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think it's not really like the tempo of production. It's really when you hear it, what do you, Mel, like the artist, feel? Right, because even with End of the Line, it is a sad situation, but you have like a more kind of like upbeat first half and like a more somber second half, right? So it's kind of like, and it's like these change into like, oh, okay, this is the beat change. This is I call it a Drake Travis, because most of their songs are beat changes. Like if you do your research, I think like they have like 4 or 5 songs together. I think a majority of those songs are beat changes. Like every time it's there together, it's probably a beat change. So I think that makes more sense with whatever you're feeling, Mel, and you kind of convey that into the music, which conveys that into lyrics, which gets us these amazing songs. A few more questions. I think now that we've kind of gone through this, I don't know if you remember in the alternate universe, because I know you talked about Michael Jackson with the Thriller thing, and I found the article too, when it's like, because of you getting into the more of like learning your voice, learning how you want things to sound, and I was telling you in that place, how Michael Jackson, he didn't play all these instruments, but he was using his voice to tell people how he wanted the instruments to sound. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you got this, because it was like he actually did this in a video, and it was like, do you ever think you're going to get to that point of like when you have like a mini orchestra where you're kind of like using your own voice as like a guiding light to like, here's how I want you to play? Like,
I would love that.
Okay.
I would absolutely love that, because I haven't really had a chance to do any of that with like Kevin yet when we're in the studio, but when I was working with my other producer, Julio, like I would tell him like, okay, I don't know how to do this in Pro Tools, but can you make this sound like like, and I would just make sounds with my mouth. So yeah, like that, I would just like the thought of like being around an orchestra and being able to like dictate how I want things to go, or like sonically what I want to convey, like, yeah, that'd be fire.
Okay. Because I can envision that for you, because when I'm thinking of the people that you are inspired by, like they have like level of not control but vision, like visionaries, right? Like this is how I wanted to do on a grandiose scale. Like even with Beyonce and her numerous like Coachella and all those performances, and Drake with his collaborations with Migos and other team ups with Lil Wayne, it's like these people care about the presentation in addition to how it sounds. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know we kind of were heavy with Drake, but we didn't need to do that. I want to focus more on like, because I want to stay away from the Drake formula and Mel formula. This is your third single is coming out, right? Mm-hmm. We're building, right? Do we envision like an EP in the future, like a year or two? Do we envision? Because I know you have a boatload of music that you're going to be fine tuning and trying to find it. So, how intentional is your process of making your piece? Because I look forward to your first EP, right? I know it's going to be a great experience. No pressure, because I wanted to be very mindful of my words with that. So like, how like intentional is you working with Koja, with Kevin, like everyone around you? Like, I'm guessing these singles are not going to be on the EP. Like these are just flexes, right? Like these are just showing like, okay, actually, don't even answer that question. Don't answer that question.
Okay.
I should have looked at him. Damn. Songs will be on the EP.
Yes.
How are we moving towards that? So you don't have to say what song, but how are you moving towards building that kind of like arsenal of songs to put on the EP?
That was funny.
Cool, that was a good catch. Because I was like, because I think the past, the past was like something different, but this is a different universe. So yeah.
So yeah, we are being very intentional with what we put out now. I think before I was just kind of like I definitely had a direction in mind. I just didn't necessarily know how I was going to get there. And I was just kind of like, let me see what works. Let me just do it. And like, I'm going to let the universe guide me.
Okay.
Whereas now there's, I'm working with people that like are very like methodical with how they do things, which is great because I think that's one of the areas of like, that's one of my areas of opportunity that like I need a little bit of structure sometimes with the way I do things, just because as a creative I'm just kind of like, yeah, let's just like do things and like create and like make music and just make it sound good. So yeah, it's very intentional now. The music that's coming out now, there's the single that's gonna come out now has a very distinct vibe, and it's for a reason. And the follow-up project that will be coming out later on is going to all kind of work together. It's all going to be a cohesive like sound and vibe, and just everything is just going to be elevated. So that'll be what you get. Yes. So I'm very thankful and like grateful for the people that I have working around me now, just because like, yeah, there's definitely like structure and intention behind everything that you see from Mel moving forward.
All right, perfect. So a few more questions. I know we didn't allude to it because we talked about the artists that you kind of like kept up with, like if like Ari Lennox drops or Janelle Monáe. So I wanted to talk, because now we talked about one artist that you collaborate with the upcoming single. What are some other people, like men and women, and not to have you just overwhelmed? I think we said last time in the other universe, like 3 to 5.
Yeah.
So 3 to 5 men and women you would love to like collaborate on a song. So, and just to help you, for women and men, we already can say just Beyonce and Drake. So those are already there. You said that before.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other ones.
Okay, so definitely I would love to do anything with Ari Lennox.
Okay.
Like, just that sounds funny, but like I would, like musically, I would just love to like collaborate in some way. Like, yeah, she's just like really dope. Are we doing women first and then men, or
This is your answer. So I asked them technically both at the same time. But like before alternate universe, I kind of split it up. I was like, let's have fun with it. We know one is Beyonce, and we know one is Drake. So this is the women. So that's Beyonce and Ari. Yeah. So then Drake is one. So you can just go back and forth. We'll just keep a tally.
Yeah. So definitely Ari Lennox.
Mm-hmm.
I went to, when I was a few years ago, I went to Kinfolk, R.I.P. Kinfolk. And I went to a Neptunes produced only party.
Oh, okay.
And it was an entire party of just like Neptune's music. And I fucking lost my mind. I love, I went there for a reason, because I love Pharrell.
Mm-hmm.
I love Pharrell and like just the Neptunes in general. I love everything they do. You can always hear, you always know when you're hearing for like a Neptunes like beat. Yeah, like the 4 count right before you get into the song. Like, so that is a dream collab for sure.
So
Pharrell.
Well, technically it's the Neptunes, right? Because
I mean,
or do you want him like? Okay, just want to make sure.
Either honestly, either one is fine.
So
yeah.
All right, cool. So it's Neptunes / Pharrell.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's one. I think SZA's just like a beast. Like, just I love her songwriting. Like I just think she's really cool. Like just with the things that she does. She is also a Scorpio.
Also Scorpio?
Well, because like I'm like, like we've talked about this.
We talked, but you're not a Scorpio.
Okay.
You're the rest of your chart is Scorpio.
I'm a Libra. I'm a Scorpio in Libra's clothing. So
that yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so like
you are a dark scale.
Yeah, dark scale.
A black scale.
So I think there's and then like Drake is a Scorpio. Like it's just
there's a lot of Future. You also like a lot of like Scorpio
and
toxicity.
He was gonna be my next. He was gonna be my next my next name. I know there's a lot of like there's the women folk, the women folk definitely have a lot of feeling towards Future, and like I get it, because like I hear the music, I hear what he talks about, but it's very good music. Like it's just undeniable. Like, so yeah, the Scorpio in me really wants to at some point just collab with Future in some way. I don't even know how that would look or sound, but like, yeah, I don't know. He's good at what he does. And then who else? I don't even know. Like, who else? Oh, one of my manager. I'm gonna name this person for my manager. One of his dream collabs is J. Cole.
Oh, yeah, that is fire.
Yes, yeah. That's one of his like like dream collabs for me. So yeah, definitely J. Cole. I mean, and J. Cole is just super talented and amazing.
I'm interested because that's not I know, because he loves 2 artists. I was actually thinking the other artist that he loves.
Who's the other?
Dang, you suck. Come on. He loves, well, not loves, but he's really connected to J. Cole. When I think of Culture, I think of J. Cole, and I think of Wale.
Wale, yes.
Because when I think of Wale, when it comes to like, I mean, J. Cole makes good love songs, but Wale makes
that would be amazing. I didn't even think about that.
But I'm not manager. I trust Kojo, but I was just thinking I would be looking at Wale.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I had just said that because I alluded, like we had a conversation and he like mentioned that.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah. I never like thought about it, but no, yeah. I mean, J. Cole's like amazing. Either one of them would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's 4 guys, because we have the Drake, we have Future. You said Pharrell says Neptunes, J. Cole, and then we have 3. So it's Beyonce, Ari, and SZA.
And then let me name a Libra.
Only 2 more.
Let me name a Libra. Doja Cat.
Wait, we didn't talk about that last time. Actually, I'm very intrigued by that.
Yeah. Doja Cat is fire.
Because we talked about it offline, because outside of her antics online.
Right. We're separating the music from the person.
No, she's not a bad person. She's a very eclectic person. I think sometimes when I look at her, it's like, I have no idea how you're doing this, but you just do music well, right? And I think I told you, I think Doja Cat, and I'm not trying to say this like that, but like not like the female version of Drake, but like how she makes music is so encompassing. Like when I'm looking at all of her 3 albums, they're so different, right? And when I just like her being able to sing and rap and just how those like things work together, and how that would look probably alongside you with whatever story that y'all would be doing together, I think that's pretty fire.
I think she's really cool. Like I really love that she takes so much pride in like the visual component of anything that she does. And she like really creates like worlds with what she does. Like the whole, like when she put out her Planet Her, is that the name of the album?
Yeah, most recent one.
Like, I just love how like, you know, I don't know if you like all the music videos, like they all had like an alien theme like to them. Like just like everything about how that was, I guess, rolled out or put out to the world. Like I was obsessed with it. Like it was just really, really cool. And I'm just like, I'm good for a space movie, space themed, space anything. I'm just like, oh my God, like take me there. So yeah, once I saw that was the direction she was going in, I was like, oh nah, yeah, this is fire. Like she's definitely up there.
So we have 4 on each side. So just last picks for the gentlemen and the ladies.
So last picks. Damn, this is tough. Oh, this is like tricky. Okay, so somebody that I'm like really, really into musically and just like I really like the way they sing and just a guy that I guess does stuff. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Blast? Is Blast, right?
It's Blast. It's just the X is there instead of...
Okay. It throws me off sometimes.
I'm just going to say, I'm very excited by that because funny enough, the person that raised my hair, shout out to you, Shocks. I'm not going to say her real name because I don't want people to find you because being able to get my hair braided at any time is important to me.
Yes.
But she's the reason why I started to like listen to Blast because she loves R&B music. So she'll just pop in random artists. So we were listening to Blast for like, I think like 2 years. So like before he was like the theme song for that Issa Rae show with the people out in LA. Like he's from LA, so he was a theme song. His voice is amazing. Went to his concert last year, amazing. And I feel like a lot of people need, and I feel like you on a track with Blast would be amazing.
Yeah, no, he's really cool. And I just like like his last project that he put out, I thought was great. I like listened to that like almost every day at one point. So yeah, definitely Blast. And then who's a person?
Yeah, one last lady.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, what? Okay, so this last person isn't a lady, but this is like my dream of dreams. Definitely Kate Renata.
Oh, so we're gonna have a bonus. That's a gentleman, right?
Yeah, a bonus man, a bonus.
Wait, but he's a
producer. He's like a producer, like DJ. Like I guess it depends when you.
I'm gonna put that as bonus.
Okay.
Still want you to get the lady, but I do remember you talking about you loving Kate Renata.
Yeah.
Because he makes music. But I was thinking like that would be good for you to sing on his production. So we're gonna put that as bonus.
Yes.
So there's no other women that you could think of right now?
I mean, like there's so many women. Like
you can still work with them. Hopefully you don't take it personal if we don't say you on the list. But
no.
Yeah.
I mean, who
speaks to you?
It's like so annoying. Like when you ask, like, because like you listen to music all day long, and then someone asks you a question like this, and you're just like, I'm blanking. Okay. But
yeah, if you can't answer, we can just let it rock. We got 6 and 4. We got 6 and 4. You getting a lifeline right now?
Yeah, I am getting a lifeline. Okay, well, someone that I really, really like that I think is just like really cool and I like what she does. Her name is Amber Mark.
You did tell me about that. Like you told me to listen to her music because you went to see her performance.
I went to see her perform.
Yeah, and you went to see like how she does her her performances, her album art and artwork and stuff like that. Okay, good.
She's just like an amazing singer. And I know someone told me, I don't know how true this is. Someone told me that apparently she warms up, like does vocal warm-ups 3 times a day. Or like, was it twice a day? It was like multiple times a day. Like she does vocal warm-ups multiple times a day. And that just blew me away. Like, I was just like, what? But when I hear her sing, I'm like, that actually lines up. Like, that would check out that she would do that all the time because she sounds amazing. And like, yeah, she was like, I went to her show. She came out here in Brooklyn and performed. It was like in Williamsburg, and she was going crazy for like 2 hours. I'm like, yeah, the stamina, like vocally, what she does, like, she's incredible. So definitely Amber Mark. She's fire.
Okay.
And
you finished. You got the 5
yeah,
women.
that's done.
You
That's
got
done.
the
But
bonus.
let me just I want to give like K Tronada his proper, because like he's very important to me.
Okay.
K Tronada inspires so much of what I do. Like I love the sound that he has created for himself. Like, again, like, I love it when I can like easily identify someone, and I always know when it's a K Tronada song. Like, I haven't missed yet. Like, when I hear some, even if I'm like in a store and I'm like, this is K Tronada. Like, I immediately know. So yes, that is my dream collab, and I feel like everything I do is I'm working towards that one day.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
So we didn't say this in the alternate universe, but I have a question, right? Because you love K Tronada's like production, right? Mm-hmm. And I know we talked about the Drake and 40 thing. And a manifestation thing, would it be like the coolest thing ever if like you had that relationship with K Tronada to be like your 40, to like your Drake in a way?
I would love that. I would like I would just be good for life if that would ever happen. I love the idea of like, my dream of dreams would be to have a whole project. It could be like 5, 6 songs. It could be 7, 10 songs, whatever. And it's just like all him, produced by him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by this time this drops, this manifestation, because we didn't talk about any alternate where it's like, damn, that was a missed opportunity, but I'm gonna take it now. Because I was like,
yeah,
I do feel like whenever there's a shot to like work with someone that you have like a deep respect for, admiration, it just comes out into the work. Last 2 questions. Okay. And I think, now I'm gonna ask them separately. What is your favorite part of being like a singer?
My favorite part of being a singer.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part is that my instrument is always with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could always do it. That's how I know that I'm like, and based on if I want to sing or not, like, that's how I know if I'm like in a good mood. Yeah, I just love it. I love that I can do things with my voice. Like, I just love that that's a part of my identity. I love the like mythology kind of behind like singing too. I'm really into like just mythology in general. Like, I'm into like Greek mythology and like what is it, like Roman mythology too? Like, does all that kind of different stuff. Yeah. I love the idea of like mermaids and like just or sirens, depending on like the mythology, like what you listen to. And I love that like they could sing, like, and that was how they like would lure.
Oh, this the
Odyssey.
No, I know the book was like it happened in Black Panther. Like they're singing. I don't remember the term of it, but you know what they're talking about. Like when they sing and how it gets people into those.
Yeah, and then they'd like kill themselves.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they wouldn't try to kill it. They were like just trying to get to the sound,
to the water. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that singing. I love that I have the power to like make people feel things or do things with my voice. Yeah. Like, I just think that's like dope. That it's like a superpower that God gave me.
Awesome.
That's fire.
So this last question, because I wanted to talk about kind of like what you have done with your performances, because you've had 7 performances in 2022, right? Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be like a quick look back and look forward. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about like these 7 performances, and then we're gonna like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So first we talk about like, you know, I think the first performance of that year was
Young Love.
Yeah, it was Young Love, and then
I don't know, Cafe Zule.
So that was second, and then third one was Drum.
Yes.
And then I think the fourth one was...
No, the first one, I think the first one was Cafe or Zule was the Young Love, and then the second one was Drum.
Second one was Drum. Mm-hmm. Third one was R&B only? Or is that the, what's that, Art Nico?
Third one was
Dysfunctional Date?
Dysfunctional Date, yeah.
Third one was Dysfunctional Date. Then it was Nico.
Yes.
Then it was R&B only.
Yes.
And then it was like what was the other one? Am I off?
Yeah. After Nico was Black Girl Art Show.
God damn it.
Black Girl Art Show, yes.
It was Black Girl Art Show.
On my birthday.
Then it was R&B only. Yo, read it off.
Poetry Please was...
Damn it.
Yes, right.
This is part of it, so I don't care if we get this wrong. We got to get this right. So, can you read it off first?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So like you said, first one was Young Love R&B Sessions.
Okay.
Second one was Major Stage.
Major Stage.
At Drum.
Yeah.
Third one was Dysfunctional Date.
Dysfunctional Date.
Shout out to y'all. Fourth one was, once again, Major Stage.
Major Stage.
Nico.
Okay, Nico.
Number 5 was Black Girl Art Show.
Black Girl Art Show.
Number 6 was Poetry Me Please at SOBs.
Poetry Me Please, SOBs.
And then the final one of 2022 was Young Love R&B Sessions, our anniversary
Show. So, you got to perform at Drum, SOBs, and you got to sign your name on SOBs.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Was the R&B only in the same locations or different locations? I feel like they were different locations.
Different.
Zuli, right?
Oh, yeah, it was the same.
Okay,
it was, same location.
Same location. I know the goal was a performance a month, but you still hit 7. So, first of all, let's clap that up. Like, we got to clap that up because you had a destination. Just because you didn't get to it, that's experience points, right? How did you feel? Like, I know before you were like, you'll skip trying to get these performances, and now you made the 7. Ideally the following years, you're going to get to more and more stages.
Mm-hmm.
How, do you feel more confident being in those different places? You made more fans. Like, how do you feel?
Yeah. So I was super proud of myself at the end of the year. Like, I was really happy that I was able to, there were just the months that I wasn't able to perform. I just was like having some like life stuff that was happening to me that I just couldn't, I couldn't like sidestep, or I just didn't have enough time to prepare the way I wanted to. But I was super proud of myself that I had managed to perform like most of the year. Not many people can say that. And I feel like each performance, I like saw the growth, and I felt myself getting stronger and more confident on stage. And that was a point of that. Like, I was like, that, like, when I set out to do that, I was like, okay, I'm like someone that like, I like to put myself in these like weird, like boot camp, like discipline things. And so I was like, what if I just like spent this whole year just like performing, like getting in like tip top performance shape. So that was the motivation behind me doing that. And then the second part of it was like, I want to like get myself out there as much as possible. Like, I want people to see who I am and see what I can do. And just like, I want to put myself on display, like, and basically just do what I was doing when I was a kid, which was making everyone watch my talent show.
Mm-hmm. Just on a bigger scale, right?
Yeah.
And I love how it's one of the rare times. Most of the time people are just so in awe. It's like first, like research was like, but you're the first person, like, I was honing in on it earlier, and you're like low key, like doing that on a bigger scale of like, hey, I'm Mel, come see me. I'm awesome, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and then I feel like I really succeeded with like the intention that I set out to do that I set out to do with performing so much. And it was really just about like growth. Like, I just was like, I'm going to grow as a performer, and I really wanted to be well-rounded just as an artist. Like, I want to be able to be good when I'm in the studio, and I want to be able to be good when I'm performing live, and I want to be able to be good when I'm like on a music video set. Like, I was like, the growth was just like the driving force behind that.
Well, using that as like the foundation, what are you trying to, and not too much pressure on yourself, like manifestation, like next 4 to 5 years musically, kind of where do you want to see yourself? I know when I started this interview, I said the G word, but where do you want to be in the next 4 to 5 years musically?
The next 4 to 5 years, ideally, I would like to check off the list of the people that I named to work with.
Okay, I like that.
I want to check, if not all, then most.
Okay, energy.
I want to be like performing like all over the world. Like,
okay.
yeah, I want to, that's really what I want to do. Like, I want to be able to like just be in different, like perform in bigger venues and like in different cities and like do shit like that. Like that's cool to me. Like when I see like, you know, just like, I love to watch the performance of Beyonce at, is it Glastonbury? Is that how you pronounce that?
You're asking the wrong person. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah. I think that's in like, what is it, like Ireland or something? It's like in the UK somewhere.
It's in the UK. I can't remember like.
It's like that big music festival that they do out there.
It's definitely Ireland or Scotland. It's one of those two. So.
But yeah, like I'd love to like, you know, see my name on the queue for like one of those like big music festivals, like, you know, like Broccoli Fest or like some shit, like something cool like that. Like that's definitely like the type of time I want to be on. One of my big dreams is that I feel like is a big dream but is achievable, like Afropunk. Like I'd love to like perform there. So yeah, just like bigger venues and just like recognition for what I do.
Nah, that's fire.
And perform with like my dream artist.
The Dream Ensemble, and then make that K-Tronada collaboration project. That's gonna be amazing. So Mel, this is Universe 2. We got to do this one more time, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Before we kind of get out of here, because you've done this before in a different place, where can they follow you? Where can they keep up with your music? So social media, you know, website, you know, where can they find you on streaming platforms? This is your time to kind of like put all that stuff there.
So you can find me. I'm on all the platforms. My name is the same everywhere. So just Mel Music. So that's MELLE music _@ at the end. It's all one word. Mel Music. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm putting up videos of me perform. My SOB's performance was really cool. It's up there now. Yeah, I'm on all the girls, all the streaming platforms. It's
all the girls. Okay.
It's on streaming platforms. It's just Mel, so it's M'_ELLE.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like there's I think there's like another person, but she's like Middle Eastern, so clearly look at the Abby.
Yes.
Just know the difference.
You see what I look like?
Yes. So heads up, just look at that. So I'm your host of Dreams Money Can Buy, Skip from BK. It's been a pleasure. Please be good. You know, stay healthy. Take your vitamins. Wear your mask. Not that is mandatory, but people be coughing right now, and I don't want you to get sick. So until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Bye, y'all.
Yo, we in the bonus scene right now. This is post credits and game status. And we just had the marvelous Mel on the show. Definitely talented singer. Definitely funny too. So she was on one of the other events that I'm on. Shout out to Dysfunctional Date. And hopefully you're going to see her more in singing and music and entertainment stages. But yeah, definitely follow her on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter on Mel Music. That's MELLE music _. That's MELLE music _. So definitely give her a follow. Also, you know, stay in touch with your boy, the hostess with the mostest, you know, one of my 2 podcasts. I am Skip from BK. Skip from BK is me. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr at Skip from BK, just to stay in the know. I'll be chatting on all these programs, so just talk to me if you do follow me. I try to follow back when people talk to me, so don't act like I'm stush. After that, definitely where all of the content that I'm doing, podcasts in the future, hopefully skits and other things, it is on my entity Cove Alpha. So check out Cove Alpha. That's COVEALPA. That's on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So stay in the touch with that. So you'll see some more podcasts on the way. And last but certainly not least, shout out to Slept On Creatives. Shout out to Jomo and Katiana. So they definitely help with the videos and the audio and just make sure everything's kind of cleaned up. Because, you know, I do a lot of things by myself, but I need some help on the back end. I'm not good with that post-production stuff. So definitely let them know that I sent you when it comes to getting their services when it comes to audio work, video work, anything pre-production, post-production, production. So definitely see you guys soon, and hopefully you enjoy it. And just subscribe, comment, and share. Peace.